What is going on, guys? Josh here from N&J. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I love about my 2017 Yamaha FZ07. So the first thing I love about this bike, and one of the reasons I bought this bike over another bike, a sport bike or anything like that, is the torque. All the guys I ride with have like naked bikes, so that was part of the reason, and just the torque aspect is a lot of fun to me. None of us that ride ever really go top speed often, and even if they did, this bike doesn't keep up. But you know, the torque is so much fun. In second gear, it's super easy to do like little power wheelies. Same thing with first gear. First gear is like super torquey. It's kind of scary sometimes, but the torque aspect is so much fun, and I would rather have torquiness over top speed almost any day. The second thing I love about this bike is actually the display. It's super big. It's probably like 6 or 7 inches long, about 3 inches tall. Super great, super bright. It's really easy to read. You got your tachometer all the way down the bottom. You got your gear indicator right in the middle, and then your speed. And I usually have my engine temperature showing. So I like the display. It's probably twice the size of the FZ09s. And I also like how it's right dead center. It's a good display. The third thing I love about this bike is the handling. It's pretty high off the ground, but it's super lightweight. I think the dry weight or the wet weight's like in the low 4s. And my seat height is pretty low compared to the FZ09. It is lower, which helps lower your center of gravity. Like I said, super flickable, super fun to ride. This bike's really, really good like in the twisties and just kind of going around turns and stuff. And that's where this bike, I think, really kind of proves itself, because, you know, on straight long roads, this bike is not going to keep up with an FZ09, an FZ10, a Z900, you know, any of those bikes. But in the turns and the twisties, this bike is right there. And I think it kind of proves itself. And that's like one of my favorite things to do on this bike. We have some roads that are super curvy, and they're a lot of fun. The fourth thing I love about this bike is the rideability. Now, what I mean by that is this bike is, I don't want to say it's easy to just get on and ride, but I moved to this bike from a Honda Grom, which, if you don't know, is a 125cc. That was like my first bike. I got this, and after about a month of kind of learning the torque and how to ride a bigger bike, this bike's super easy over time to just really be able to ride. And it's one of those bikes where you kind of grow into it fairly quick, but I don't think it's a bike that you can outgrow super, super easily. I've talked about maybe getting a different bike in the next year or so, but I think if I were to keep this bike and pay it off and then have a cruiser bike, I would be totally fine keeping this bike for a few years. It's super fun, and you know, it is nice to kind of cruise around town with it. The throttle can be super on-off torque, but you know, just the rideability aspect is a lot of fun, and I would definitely recommend this bike if you're a beginner looking for a bike and you kind of want a naked bike. I would definitely prefer one of these over like a 300 or 400cc, because that's, personally, I don't think that's a good idea. But yeah, the rideability is great on this bike, and I definitely recommend it. The last thing I love about this bike is the sound. It's a parallel twin engine, and something about the way it's angled, or I don't know how it works, but I love the sound of it. Compared to like the Z650, holy shit, that scared me. I think it sounds awesome. It's very like low pitched, kind of like grumbly, I guess is a good way to say it. Compared to bikes like the Z650, which is also a parallel twin, it just sounds way better in my personal opinion. I've never rode this bike with a stock exhaust. When I bought it, it had this Two Brothers slip-on, so that's like the only exhaust I've heard in person of this bike, but it sounds awesome, and we'll throw in a sound clip like right here. So yeah, that's like the fifth thing I love about this bike, is just the sound. And I definitely think if you're going to get this bike, you know, ditch the stock can and get it aftermarket, because it sounds awesome. I've actually thought about maybe getting a different one if I keep this bike, but that probably won't happen. But yeah, those are 5 things I absolutely love about my Yamaha FZ07. So make sure you guys subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.